Hi, Kipsters! Today we're looking at 7th grade E5 Interpret Figures of Speech. So I know figures of speech actually means figurative language, and I know quite a few different kinds of figurative language. While I'm doing this, before I click Learn with an Example, I just want to make sure to call out the word in bold is going to be the figurative language you want to look for. That's going to be really important to read the green question as you're answering this. It'll be tough to get to that SMART score of 90. So I'm going to click Learn with an Example. Remember, you can do this too. Key idea here is figures of speech are words or phrases that use language in a non-literal or unusual way. So it doesn't mean exactly what it says. They can make writing more exciting and expressive. Personification is one type of figurative language or one type of figure of speech, and it's giving human characteristics to non-human things. For example, the trees dance in the wind. Trees don't actually dance, but you can picture trees swaying back and forth in the wind. Let's do the example. What is the personification? So I'm looking for personification or human characteristics and non-human things here in the text suggest. It was an early afternoon of a sunshiny day with the little winds playing hide and seek in it. All right, first, let's see. I have to find the personification. Little winds playing hide and seek. Does the wind play hide and seek? No, that's the personification. There were occasional gusts of wind or there were very little wind. Well, if it's playing hide and seek, it was there sometimes and then it was hiding other times. Sometimes there and sometimes not there is kind of similar to the word occasional. I think that's the right answer. In the solution, personification was little winds playing hide and seek. We got that right. It suggests that there was occasional gusts of wind. Brings to mind children disappearing and reappearing, which means the wind was there sometimes and not other times. Let's try a couple more together. Again, I'm reading this green question. What does personification in this text suggest? First step, find the personification. Second step, interpret it. What does it mean? While the plumber was under the sink fiddling with the pipes, the drain burped up a spray of brown water. Think to yourself, I'm looking for personification, so I'm looking for a non-human item that's given a human characteristic. What non-human item is given a human characteristic here? Think to yourself. Did you say the drain burped? Drains under your sink don't burp. So the personification was the drain burped. What does it mean? That it noisily released some water or that all the pipes broke suddenly? Okay, think about burped. Does that mean that when you burp, your stomach breaks suddenly, or does a kind of gross noise come out? Right, a gross noise. So that's the answer. Now I see verbal irony here. Verbal irony is when somebody says the opposite of what they mean. This skill is going to be really important if you don't know what the green bold words mean. It's going to be really important you have a notebook out so you can take notes. Someone had better turn on the heat, Alice said, sweat glistening on her face. So I don't know what verbal irony is, so I'm just going to click one and see. All right, it was incorrect. I'm going to look down here in the blue for my key points. I have a definition of verbal irony now. It involves someone saying one thing but implying something very different. In my notebook, I'm going to stop and write that definition down because I know I'm going to come across verbal irony again in this skill. If I'm not doing that, I'm not going to be able to get through this. Verbal irony is when you say one thing but you mean something different. In this case, someone had better turn on the heat was verbal irony. She meant, no, it's way too hot in here. It was too warm. Metaphor. Again, if I don't know what a metaphor is, I'm going to make sure I have my notebook out. Right? I'm going to make sure I have my notebook out so that I can see a metaphor compares two things that are not actually alike without using like or as. A snow formed a blanket over the town. In this case, laughter is sunshine. didn't use like or as, and it compared laughter to sunshine. It brightened people's moods. Next is a simile. A simile is also a comparison with like or as. You should know this one. It's a review from 5th and 6th grade. Judith rubbed coconut oil on her hands, which were like, there's that like, the parched earth during a drought. Her hands were so dry. Ooh, verbal irony again. We got this. Sleeping through the rooster's crowing was no problem. Dean joked with a yawn. He's tired, right? He's yawning. And we know verbal irony means the opposite. So was it actually a problem? Yeah. So did he sleep well or did he sleep poorly? Probably pretty poorly. Yay, I got it. Remembering those key points from before is going to be really important here. Back to simile. I trust you guys got this. Remember, we're working up to a SMART score of 90. When you get it wrong, review those key points. Especially for this skill, you're going to want to have a piece of paper next to you to make sure you're taking notes on metaphors, simile, verbal irony, dramatic irony, personification, onomatopoeia, hyperbole. You got this, Kipsters. Get to 90. See you tomorrow.